What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are getting ready to pull the axles out from under the gooseneck outside there, and the spring bushings and all that stuff is wore out. I could take my hand truck over there, or dolly, whatever you want to call it, two-wheel hand truck, and push down on it and pick up on the springs and axles, check the bushings, and they just move up and down like this. So I'm sure the bushings are all gone. That's probably one of the reasons that the tires were rubbing the fenders or the decking up there, and the guy cut that out with a Motabo or whatever and welded that up there. So we're going to go out here and before it gets too dark and get these cut out. I'm going to set you guys up and let you watch. Wish somebody could give me a hand, but it is what it is. We're going to get this snatched out. So here we go. Alright guys, we got the axles dropped down there. All the bushings and stuff in the springs are bad. Is probably the cause of the rubbing issue, or at least one of the rubbing issues. I'm going to get these axles out from up under here with the tractor and carry them in the shop, and we're going to rebuild these. I'm going to check the spring height. I don't really want to buy no springs, but I may have to. I'm going to check them out when I get them in the shop and make a decision on that. I may have to. So if we do, we do. So I'm going to check that out, and I'm going to check out all the spring seats. They possibly may be wore out as well. Yes, looks like that one's got some wear on it. Possibly they've dropped down some. So we're going to check that out. If we have to, we'll cut these off and either find some taller ones, or we'll space these down. That way we won't have a rubbing issue anymore there. I've priced this several different ways, and I've decided that this was the best way to go, is to rebuild these axles. I priced new axles and suspension components, and this stuff is crazy expensive, but I've decided to rebuild these, and that's the way we're going to go. I got to see what the availability is on bushings on this stuff. You can get a couple different equalizers. You can get this style equalizer that has the rubber bushing in it. You can get an aftermarket one that's just a steel pipe that the bolt goes through. So I'll have to check that out as well. And you see what the bushing here looks like. Well, it used to be a bushing there for that, and the bolt eat up. And that was the rest of the bushing for that. And those things were some kind of tight too, rusted on there. Had to get out the big old impact wrench. But anyway, we're going to get this drug out from under here, and then I'll go over the rest of the stuff. All right, guys, we got the axle out from under there, or axles out from under there. I'll give you guys a rundown on what we got going on here as far as the brake situation and the other stuff. This hub right here and drum is bad. The hub has a little bit of a groove right here where the seal goes. I'm not sure if a new seal would seal in there or not. Haven't gotten any seals yet, but I found a hub on eBay. It's a new old stock hub that should work, and so I ordered it. And this brake drum is trash right here where the magnet rides. You see the face of it. I'm not sure the camera's picking it up very well, but it's got a really deep groove right there, 2 of them, that's not going to work. So I will have to order one of those. New wheel bearings and everything going there. I've got a new Kessel nut that goes on the end of the washer there. We're getting all new oil caps and all new seals. These drums here look pretty good. There's very little ridge on them in both places, maybe just a touch. I'll take a flat disc on a grinder and clean those up just a little bit. Other than that, they look pretty good. So we'll get all that stuff cleaned up, and I'm getting new brake shoe backing plates and everything. As you can tell, this one here, it doesn't even have a lining on it. This one's got a lining on it. This is probably the best looking one. The magnet actually looks decent. I'm not sure if it works or not, but it's about the only one that's just not, you know, totally looks like it's bad by looking at it. But I'm going to go ahead and put all 4 new ones on there and get it all cleaned up and everything. And I know I can buy these bushings right here, I believe. I'm not sure how much trouble those are to put in. If they're like a big truck, you have to have a press to press them in there, which they probably are. I'm gonna check this spring out a little bit more and see about the wear right here. And I'm going to check the arch, running a string across and measure down and see if the arch looks right, because this trailer's had a problem with it rubbing, which I think a lot of that is because the bushings are bad. The other part's probably because it was overloaded a few times. So that's what we're doing on that. As far as this plate here, I can just cut this back off and weld it back down in place, and I can probably make it look decent. I thought about either doing that, or I thought about replacing or cutting this off and laying a whole plate, covering cutting these boards out and coming from here all the way back to the front up here with another piece of plate and lay it over the top of this. That would give me probably another 1/4 inch of clearance here, but I'm not sure what I'm gonna do on that yet, because that's probably $300–400 worth of plate to do that. I'm not real sure yet, so I'll have to check that out. And again, I'm gonna check all my height and stuff on my spring hangers and check them out and see if I think I need to get some longer ones, if they make longer ones for this size springs, or if I need to just take those off and replace some new ones and put a piece of flat bar or something there to space them down to give me a little bit more clearance. I don't want this thing rubbing when these bushings get a little bit of wear in it, and if you happen to load it a little bit heavy or go across some pretty uneven ground or whatnot, I don't want to deal with the rubbing issues. So I want to make sure that while we're doing this, that we got all that corrected. So I've heard a lot of people say that they've had some of these low pro trailers, and some of them are bad about rubbing. If they get overloaded and whatnot, probably get some wear and your suspension drops down like that right there has. I know you can buy, like I say, these equalizers with the bushing or with a pipe. I'm not sure if I had a lathe, I could turn a bushing out of something other and put that in there and reuse this equalizer. But I think that's probably all that's wrong with it. Well, it's got some wear right there, looks like, but that could be fixed as well. It's just a piece of half round pipe half welded in there, but you can see it's wore in two as well. That's allowed it to drop down some there. But I'm not sure if I'm going to go through that trouble, because these are about $100 a piece. So that's $200 for one on each side. And the springs and stuff are pretty expensive as well. I don't recall right off the top of my head, and the hangers and stuff what all that cost, but I know these are $100 a piece depending on where you get them. I stopped at one trailer store today and they were $135 a piece, I think, for these. But anyway, you can get them a little cheaper than that, but that's what those were. Anyway, that's a wrap for tonight. Stay tuned. The next video will well, I don't know if it'll be the next video or not, but anyway, in a future video, we'll get this figured out, get some parts ordered, and get this thing put back together and all that stuff, or in the process of. I'm not sure how many videos this will wind up being, but that's all for this one. So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.